The Servicemen's Readjustment Act of 1944 was passed by Franklin Roosevelt in 1944 and aimed to benefit veterans following the war. It has often been more often referred to as the GI Act, as soldiers from America were known as GI, and it has been touted as the new bill for veterans by some. The act was passed a few days after D-Day during the last year and a half of the war. It was at a time period when the war was pretty much all but won for the Allies and starting to wind down. And so the government began to focus on looking at the future of America following the war. And part of that was seeing what had to be done with veterans. It was also passed 10 years following the Great Depression, a time period in which unemployment was incredibly high, as well as poverty. Many of the members of these groups in poverty were veterans who had no access to a lot of key things that were needed to make money. And a lot of the effects of the Depression were mitigated not just by the New Deal, but also from the war and the economic opportunities and job opportunities that came with it. And so there was a worry that some regression would happen with the economy after the war when all of those things suddenly stopped helping out. The Department of Labor predicted 15 million veterans would be unemployed following the end of the war. In reality, it ended up being 16 million total people who would be unemployed or the like. But it was basically the government wanted to prevent any such thing. They didn't want depression to happen again, and they wanted people to be able to be successful for the greater good of the economy. They aimed to do so by providing money for veterans to attend college. They were given enough money to cover a good portion of 4 years worth of college, or alternatively, they could get funding to attend like training either for like a trade like carpentry or plumbing or the like, as well as like other such like programs such as like piloting even. This allowed veterans to actually get a chance to learn. Many of the veterans were originally really young, like 18, 19, 20, and were off serving during the times they would have been going to college. This allowed them to actually get a chance to attend that without having to immediately worry about getting, money provided for them without having really much experience in the workforce at a slightly older age than normal. The bill also allowed for veterans to obtain guaranteed loans to purchase houses, farms, or businesses, which basically meant that the government would insure the banks if the loans couldn't be paid back, and also cause the loans to be low interest and have no down payment, which made it significantly easier for veterans to buy any of those three things. It allowed housing to be a lot more of a thing. Many veterans bought houses. A large percent of homeowners in the 1940s to 1950s were veterans because of this, as well as it allowed for veterans to actually be able to start their own businesses without a significant amount of starting money or credit, which they wouldn't have because of service. The bill is often considered very successful. It set out exactly what it tried to do, and it greatly impacted the economy. And it provided 7.8 million of the 16 million World War II veterans to be benefited, and backed 2.4 million loans. The bill was 49% of veterans made up college admissions as a result, and the number of degrees in America total doubled